Hey friends, it's Jenny, and I have the newest John Bead Curiosities box. This is number 20, Victorian Gothic. If you haven't got your box yet and you are waiting to look at the contents, now is the time to save this video for later so that you can see what's in it. I have done my best to avoid spoilers on this box, so I haven't actually watched Emma's unboxing over at Baby Squirrel Beading. There will be a link to her channel in our description. She does a lot of the official content, tutorials, the unboxings. She releases that unboxing the day that this is billed and then subsequently shipped to all subscribers. And so I've had to try to avoid it a long time, but I keep seeing the colors in the thumbnail. So when I saw that this is going to be Victorian Gothic, I gotta be honest, I was really excited because I love reading historical fiction, and like the Gothic genre is a big part of that. If I'm not actually reading that, which I do sometimes, not all the time, it's referenced by like the women who I'm reading of in the Regency period who have been reading these Gothic romances. And so it's like I have a connection to it. So I was really excited. I'm like, Goth box. I know from seeing the preview image that if you hear goth box, you're thinking, oh, it's all gonna be black and dark and dreary. There is color in this box. That much I know, and that much I can tell you. I tried really hard not to look too much at it. So we'll see what I think of this. Now on our channel, we don't just do an unboxing and show you what's in the box. We will do that, of course. But we also like to organize our collections. Now, our typical collections fit in this 15 grid organizer, and it's about that thick, right? I have found that my John Bead Curiosities box needs at least this 18 grid organizer, just to compare. See, it's a lot deeper and it has more wells. This is going to accommodate a lot of the larger beads or large quantity beads. And then depending on the rest of the contents of the box, I'm either going to use this 15 grid organizer, which I did with the Marie Antoinette box, or more typically, I've been using this 28 grid pop top because it accommodates a lot of different types of beads in smaller quantities. So like bead mixes sort really well into this. This is a vintage box of beads, and so there's a lot of vintage check glass and things like that as well in here. And this seems to be really good for check glass storage as well. So most likely it's going to be this one, but I have this one here in case the beads are more medium-sized instead of the smaller ones for the other range. Anyway, that's how I organize them. This is going to be a longer video than most of our organizing videos. If you haven't watched us open a John Bead Curiosities box before, these do run about an hour and a half, and there's still the possibility that I might decide to make something with this from the end of the video. It depends on how inspired I'm feeling. But I think I've prattled along far enough. If you didn't want to see what's inside here, too late, because we're about to dig in. Oh, there's always a graphic and a story. So this is collection number 20, Victorian Gothic. The coveted garnet heart. In the gaslit hush of her workshop, she threads beads of jet and crimson, each one a whispered memory. Her former lover's portrait watched from the mantel, eyes forever gleaming like polished onyx. They said she'd mourned too long, that her jewels held sorrow itself, but tonight, as moonlight touched the final clasp, the air trembled. The necklace shimmered, warm, pulsing. Then his voice sighed her name. She smiled through tears, fastening the beads around her throat. Love, it seemed, could be strung anew, even from grief's darkest gems. My gosh, guys, that's Gothic. That is like the epitome of like the Gothic romantic novels. Yeah. Let's get this tissue paper out of the way and take a peek at what is in here. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. I love this. Any of these metals, if they're not listed on the packaging as being nickel-free, which honestly most of them won't be, are going to need to be tested, but I am loving this and I really hope that I can use it, especially this link. It's let's take a look at this. Oh, there's 2 of them. Yay. Oh, it's not a link. It's 2 pendants. I saw 2 loops and I thought it was a link. So 2 pendants of a woman figurine. Kind of a, that may not actually be metal. No, it is. They're like charms, but they're really pretty. Like similar to a cameo, but instead of being like a profile portrait, it's a full figure. Those are really cool. And then we've got these little guys. See, this is already in a little box. So I'll probably keep it in here for now. These are some filigree, very much multi-point connectors. There's several holes throughout this. There's 2 on each side here, as well as here, as far as like what's on the edges itself. Let me get this above my little ladybug dish so you can see those holes. There we go. So 2 holes here, 2 holes here, and then of course holes all the way throughout. This could be really fascinating how to use it. And there's this antique bronze one, as well as like an antique silver. There's 2 of each of those. And then we've got these ones. These are sliders. So they'll fit like on some leather and they can slide. You could probably also use them with like small bead strands and use this as a focal with like small bead strands across. There's several ways that you can use those. And then we've got a couple of lamp work. Oh, do these not fit? They fit to start with. There we go. Okay. But these, when I look at them, they remind me of cufflinks. They're not, but they have that look. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So we've got these lampwork beads here. Actually, these might be more like a polymer clay kind of bead where they stick bits of metal and beads into it. I'm getting polymer clay. I looked at it and then my first thought was that it was lampwork, but it's not. That's really cool. And then we have these cubes, 2 kind of gray and 2 green. Green is one of the predominant colors I saw in the thumbnail for Emma's. That might be kind of a lavender. No, it's more of a gray, but they've got the gold edging on them. Hold that one up so you can see the window because it's casting its own shadow, so it looks a lot darker than it is. And then the sky. So those were in the little charm box. Sometimes they have these. I've seen this before in another edition or 2. But yeah, I'm going to start pulling some of these things out. We went into detail here a lot sooner because it was right there. It was right there. And it's, like I said, it's already in a little box. And I'm not sure if I'm going to pull these out of this in order to put them in with the rest of the collection. For now, we're going to keep them separate because they're already in a little box. But we have the sticker for the Victorian Gothic and some other elements in here. Oh, there's the pin, some other elements, this looks like cording, kind of like a twine, like one might wrap old, letters in. We've got this, okay, hold on. We've got some bead mixes and we're going to get to these. We've also got some of these items here. Looks like a lampwork pendant and some fun floral. Yeah, I think those are flower beads. We'll take a look at all the details of what's in there in a minute. We'll get into these as, whoop, I have a split bag. Okay, I'm gonna take this one out in just a minute. But we've got a bag with some beads in it, another bag with some beads in it, a bag with more beads in it. I'm getting an idea what kind of sizes we're looking at here too. This one might be using the medium bag. There's some cool stuff in there. Oh, look at these roses. Oh, I love those. I don't know if they're glass or acrylic, but they look really fun. But this has a lot of good like flower mix in it. This does have some black beads, friends. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it does have a lot of other colors that go really well with it. We've got a couple of strands of crystals, some crystal bicones, preciosa. Yeah. Black Diamond AD. Yeah, we'll get into the details of these here in a minute. I'm just getting things out of my box because there's a lot of things. We have a kit, Creative Beading Kit. Yay, I got another orange one. I swear, every time I get one of the kits, I get the orange selection. There's probably a variety of these that went out. These are like the free gifts that they add on top of the box. Just little extra goodies. And it doesn't say anything about the contents. There's a lot of metals in here, so we'd have to check those. And then this is Earth's Jewels, and it's got an electroplated druzy pendant. It does say, see, this is where I said if it does say that it's specifically nickel-free, I don't have to test it. So this is lead-free and nickel-free, which means that this bail and the loop and everything that they attach to this is fine for me to use, which is really cool. We've got another bead mix here, some rhinestone banding. That's kind of cool. Check that out. And we've got some beading needles. Now, beading needles, you do have to watch out. Some of them are nickel plated. So if you do have a nickel allergy, you'll want to make sure you're testing your needles as well as, you know, any components that you're actually using. And then I'm just scooping up these beads that are trying to escape this bag. We're going to get the box out of the way. Oops. Okay, let's get this box out of the way. And we're going to start organizing this. I'm going to start with this bag because it does have some large beads. It also has some smaller beads. And it's already open. But I do want to just take a quick look at the kit and some of the other things I'm going to be setting to the side. So this has, looks like some cylindrical seed beads. These are probably their Celine brand seed beads, but I'm not 100% sure. And the kit, the kit includes a PDF pattern and an online workshop. This was from 2024. Glass bead kit boho geometry is what goes in here. So not sure if I'll be doing that because partially the colors, and also I don't really do a whole lot of seed beading. So I'm going to set aside my needles as well. But I think the rest of these components we're going to be putting in our boxes. So I always start with the big guy, and I put the big beads in here, and then we decide based on what else we're looking at, which of the smaller boxes we're going to use. They're roughly the same size. They just fit things a little bit differently. So we have the 18 grid organizer, and it does have these separators, so I can extend sections here, or I can take out a larger section, like this whole section right here, by also removing this bar and these spacers. So if we need to, we will do that. We're probably going to at least expand one of these sections because like this larger pendant is not going to fit very well in just one well. So it'll probably roommate with some other things. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open this bag the way it's supposed to be opened. And sometimes that happens. These are organza bags and they are stuffed with beads. So they're going to do their thing. And this feels very light. I believe that these are like acrylic pearls. These don't feel like they're glass pearls to me. Yeah, this is a variety of acrylic beads right here. And we've got, little bits of hearts on chains. I would probably remove the chains and not worry about trying to fit them. Looks like a little bit of something that had come apart, but they could be fun to play with on some other things. We've got some big shiny balls. This is in 2 different sizes right here. And then like these dark gray ones. Yeah, these are all really light. So these are acrylic. And some black ones. And we've got these green ones. We're going to end up sorting some of these, but I think a lot of them are going to go together because of their size in one of these other sections. I'm just getting an idea what I have, like which are the odd ones. For example, there's no match to this guy right here, or this guy, or this one. Oh, I like that pink. That's a cute pink. That's a cute pink. I like it. And these smaller beads are going to be a pain to dig out of that organizer. So I'm going to set the smaller beads aside. I'm going to just redirect them over here. Probably go like 6 millimeter or smaller, are going to go elsewhere. And then we're going to take these guys and we're just going to put them in one of these sections. Start with the large ones. I don't have specific plans for them. I'm gonna do, in case I need to put them in separate sections, I'm doing like the gray and white and black all together, and then these lighter colored tones in the next one over, because that's kind of full right there. There we go. So we've got those. And like I said, I have this little pile here. They're gonna wait until we decide what we're doing for the other one, because the small beads are kind of a pain to get in and out of this. Let's put this right up here. Our Victorian Gothic, our inspiration picture. I think we need to get into, well, okay, let me take a look, because I've got other ones that have mostly large beads. We're doing those first. This one has a combination of large and small beads. We'll probably do this as we're transitioning from one box to the next. Yeah, I like that plan. So let's get into this light purple one. This one has some glass beads. Oh, that's cool. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to hold it up above the dish. It's kind of a crystal color, but it's like got this pink lining where the center is, but the way that this is cut and faceted, and it had this like gold electroplate and then was cut like a window cut, but cut with faceting so that it catches the light and does all kinds of cool things. That's a cool vintage bead. So the John Bead Curiosity box is a vintage collection. What they do is they go through their old inventory. John Bead has been around for a long time, and so they started doing these curiosity boxes. This is the 20th one, and they set up a subscription. I did check before I filmed this video, and the subscriptions, because they're vintage beads, are limited, but they are currently open. So if you're interested in subscribing, you can. It's $49.99, and it the next one is going to be Easter Wishes. The link that I have in the description, these are also really cool ones. They're a really light green, but with this cool like slate gray speckling on them. That's kind of cool. I like that. And then we have some of these. I think we got some of these in the Creep It Real box. These are a purple bead with a silver lining, and they're really chunky. I use some of these in a silver silk design because it fits on silver silk. So I might see if I have some more of them left over from the other box and combine them in with this. I also feel like we got these on a recent box or something like it. These turquoise lampwork beads. So if I can grab some from my old boxes, because I mean, it's a ton of beads, but I don't get a lot of opportunities to make with them. My February is kind of crazy, so I didn't actually make anything with that one yet. But yeah, those are really cool. And they're definitely on these are bigger beads side of things. Not quite sure if they all go together. I'm going to start with, yeah, I'm going to start with putting a few of them together, but I might roommate them with some other things. Oh, but I was saying, the link I'm going to put in the description is going to take you to where you can sign up for the subscription, but it's also going to show previous boxes, and if any of those are available, they'll show available to order. Otherwise, they'll say sold out. So, for example, the last box, the Best Friends Forever box is available, this box is available, and the next one is available to pre-order when I looked before I did this video. So just so you know a little bit about it. I get nothing. If you sign up for John Bead, I get nothing, and that's fine. It's something new that I'm playing with and some of our subscribers really love. Well, new to me. I started with October, so I'm sharing it with you. Okay, these are some nice glass pearls. I like these. Look at this color. That's gorgeous. This is getting into some of those dark garnet reds that are going to really make some dramatic designs with the black or green or other things that you do with it. I like these a lot. I am going to go ahead and combine these guys into the same section because I feel like color-wise we've got cool and then we've got a lot of warm stuff we're getting out of here. And I'm going to be putting them together. There we go. We can still see all of those from that bead mix. But these, I like those a lot. And then we have these little Picasso, like it's like red with a Picasso finish on them. But they're octagons. They're octagon coins. And there's a bunch of those. I think those are really cool too. They give the impression of age. A little bit of like lichen, like that looks like lichen on those. That's a really cool one too. So I'm gonna go ahead and put, because I think these are gonna go really well together, I'm gonna put some of those in here and then these on top so I can see these are what's in this well. There are more of the pearls at the bottom. I have a total of, I think I had 5 of those in my hand. Yeah, 5. Those are really cool. And then we've got some pink tones. We've got these porcelain beads that have like a figure and some stairs or something painted on them. They're more graphic. And then we have these kind of almost a pony bead shape. They're glass and they're like a very, very pale pink, clear and white swirled together. But it's very, very pale pink. Put those in there as well. So you can look at those. One of the reasons we like to put these in the boxes is if I leave everything in their little bags, I'm not going to open the box, or I'm not going to be able to just look at it and start getting inspired. Having it in the box helps me kind of start to imagine how some of these things will go together. Let's open this one next. Nope, I'm going to open this one next. I keep changing my mind. Sorry, friends. If I set some beads aside to go into other storage later, that's fine. But I want a place for these flowers. And there's also some larger black beads in here. This is where the Gothic, so it's almost like a Gothic garden. Look at this. Look at this inspo pic right here. And this is what I started to think when I couldn't help but see some of the colorways that Emma had, was that this was an opportunity to play with kind of like a Gothic garden theme, which I think is pretty cool. So we've got, these are a bunch of acrylic flowers and there's different shapes and colors. Let's get the flowers out first and take a look at them. These are really fun. So many. Okay, so first we've got, oh, and we've got some a petal in there too, got mixed in. So we've got these ones that are center drilled, and some of them have are different colors. Some of them have a little bit of like pink and yellow swirl. This is a little bit of pink and it has AB on it. And they're all center drilled and kind of make that kind of cup shape. So there's a few different ways you can use these. But they can be a little bit tricky, but using them along with other beads is one of the best ways that you can do it. And there's a bunch of them. They're really light and fun. Yeah, these are all of the center drilled flowers. Those are super fun. I'm going to take all of them and put them in one of my sections right here. They might get some roommates, but I'm not going to be able to fit all of my flowers together. So I figure I'd separate them by how they work. So those ones are center drilled. These ones are drilled through the back, top to bottom. And this one has a lot of variety too. We have some that have the gold edging, some that are different colors. I only have one, but I love that kind of dark dark one. It's almost more of a dark blue than a black, but it comes across as black. But there's also some soft frosted ones like these that don't have any of the gilding on them, and they're a little bit clouded. This one reminds me of like the way cherry quartz, which is man-made, can look. We have some that are pairs, like these red with the gold. That could be a lot of fun. So yeah, there's quite a few of those different styles. And then just a couple of odd beads right here, and I'll probably put them in with the other ones. We've got one petal that has that same gilding, which could be used along with one of these roses. Ta-da! One of these roses to create a focal. There's also one of the smaller size roses. So it's exactly the same as, for example, this one. Well, more like this one as far as texture. Yeah, more like this. But it's a smaller size, so you can see that. So I'm going to put these kind of one-offs here, and then we're going to take all of these acrylic roses and put them right here. Ooh, I hope they fit. If they don't fit, we might have a couple of them go hang out with the other flowers. I don't think they'll all fit in here, which is good that we have room over here. It is good that we have room because I want my flowers to mostly be together. I'm just going to take these other ones down a little bit so we can still see these center drilled ones here and some of the one-offs. So now we've got all of our flowers in here. And then in this mix, we're going to set aside most of this to be in the smaller container. So we'll go over that when we get to it. I'm moving it off to another part of my mat. I guess I can show you what's in it. We'll just find homes for it later because I did that with the other ones. No, I didn't. I didn't actually show you the smaller ones. That's okay. Those ones I'll show you later. So we've got these fire polish. These are nice chunky fire polish. They're probably, I should get out my caliper because this box is why I ended up buying the caliper, because it's a vintage box. So it doesn't come with everything labeled like what it is, what size it is. I'm evaluating and describing it as I go. So I did go ahead and get myself a caliper, inspired by opening this box so that I could give you a little bit more information on some of the things. We're not going to measure everything, but like big chunky boys like this, we're going to take a look and see from hole to hole. This is, whoops. Yeah, I was thinking it was about it's a 16 millimeter. That's a 16 millimeter fire polish. Some very, very chunky boys. And then some smaller sized ones here. We've got one that's closer to probably a 12. Might be 10. Oh, why did you? Here we go. 12. I was right on the first. And then these guys are 10s. Yeah, these guys are 10s. 12 and some 10s. And so they're going to go in our large box. And then we have an assortment of other fire polish beads. So we've got some drops in both black and this jet with like, looks kind of like a, I would say silver luster, but it's I don't know if I would call it that. It's got a little bit of aged feel to it as well. Hematite luster, I think, is maybe one of the things they call it. So we've got some drops in a couple of different sizes. I'm starting to sort this. This is why I wasn't going to go through it, because I know me as a person. I will sort this. We've also got some coins and cubes and some bicones. Looks like most of the cubes are black. The bicones are in that other hematite looking one. We've got some rounds right here, just some drooks. They're smooth. There's no faceting. Yeah, so a nice mix of dark, but they have shine to them. So in the Victorian times, when someone was in mourning, they would wear jet. That's why that story referenced that. They would wear jet, which is not meant to draw attention. Oh, these big guys are gonna go in here. not meant to draw attention. I'm just putting them in here, and I'm not sure if they're going to have someone else with them or not. I do need to actually, because I need to keep in mind the fact that I need to expand some areas, I'm going to change my mind and move these over here. And I'm going to move these guys as well. They're stubborn to get out. Because if I do need to make some room, this is where I'm going to need to make that room probably. Okay. What else do we have that's large? Let's look at the pendant. This has a large item in it and some chain as well. And then we also have this pendant. So when I'm looking at the large items, oh, and this, I'm looking at large items for what we're getting into next, so that I can make sure that they've got a nice home for them before we get into what are we going to use for our second box, because I did find I will always need a second box. Oh, this is cute how they did this. They actually put 2 organza bags together. They like put one inside and held it up and actually like cinched it all together at the top. Oh, that's a button. That is a very big button, friends. Okay. And pretty too. It will need to be tested. Most of this metal will, and this is definitely metal. I can feel it's cool to the touch. But look at that. How dramatic. That could make something really cool. We'll have to test it to see if I can use it. With this faux pearl center and the probably CZ around for those little crystals, but it's cool to the touch. So that's going to be metal. I'm going to go ahead and take out one of these, see if I can, yes. And then we have this one, which I don't need to test. I have to remember that. Usually I separate my metals that need testing off in one section, but I want to put them in the organizer and they kind of have to go in the same type of place. So let me see if I can get this loose. Oh, I have to actually cut that. Cut it. There we go. So this is cool. It's a very purpley pink color orchid, maybe fuchsia, but that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make a couple of sections. So this one I know I can use and it's big. This one I know I need to test and it's big. And I'm going to put kind of my testy metals over here and my I'm fine to use it stuff here. Or things that don't need to be tested because it's not metal. Like we've got this lampwork glass over here. In the rest of this bag, the other part of it, the stars and moons part of it, it looks like there is a cha-cha necklace that I have no information on at all. I don't know if I would keep this as it is. I'm trying to get it untangled so I can show you, lay it out and show you. It's very dramatic. There we go. It's hard to, maybe I was doing it the wrong way. Hold on. So it's got some that are like 2 links long, some that are small. This is kind of how that was constructed. There's a little, there's a mark right there. It's M and S, whatever M and S is. But I couldn't use this without testing any of it. But it's full of all this fun fire polish. If I decide that I don't want to use this or I can't use it, I can take these beads off and do. So this is definitely going to go into this section with that button. I'm not going to decide what I'm going to do with it until I know whether or not I can use it. So put it over there. Okay. And then we've got, let's do this one, because this cord, I might need to move a few things around. Oh, that does have metal. So it's got these loops embedded in it. This is the back and this is the front. It's a multi-point connector. It's kind of a white and ivory swirl. I think that's glass. It feels cool to the touch, like glass. Yeah, I'm getting glass off of that. So that would definitely also need to be tested. Trying to see. This is where things get fidgety. This is a cool button, or a cool coin. It's a coin. It's like all chrome and stuff, but has that black pattern on it. And then this one is an irregular shape, and it's more like bronze and black, coppery bronze and black. So some other large beads that would go in there. This twine, I'm not sure if it's going to end up in the box. If it does, I'll have to make room for it in here, which I can do, but it means moving even more things around than I already have done. So this is fixed and this is fixed, but all the other dividers in here can move. So I might need to like pause the video and move some things around. I'm kind of already thinking about it. Because this is going to take almost 4 sections, and I can't take out just 4 sections. I would have to take out all 6 sections and then have the division I need for, you know, these kinds of things. So I'm going to think about this. A lot of times if we get bonus stringing material, I do keep it off to the side, and this is probably going to be kept off to the side as bonus stringing material. But we will decide. Okay, and then we've got this one that has this, it's a lampwork glass round with a rose motif inside it. A little bit, could use a little polishing. But that's really cool. I like that lampwork. And of course, being lampwork, there's no metal, so I know I can use this. So I've got it here in the large nitafocal kind of area. And then we've got, I don't know if these fixtures, they're a rectangular drop. It might be a type of clasp. Do they move? They do move. So they pop out and then in. So I guess you could wear this as like an ear wire or use it as a clasp. I don't know how I would use this. There's no instruction on it. So I'm just going to take this and put it in with the needs testing section over here. And then we have these flowers. So these flowers have, let's see, I've got 2 of them. 3 of them that are so I put them flower side up. So they've got the back that just kind of looks like a star shape. They're 2 whole beads. And you can see the holes here. And they're kind of like the amber tone, but they have this vitriol on one side. These 3 have the vitriol on the floral side, which is what I like best. But these ones, maybe they were not done correctly to start with. They've all got their vitriol on the backs. So they're a little less fun to work with. So this is all the vitriol side up, just so you can get an idea. Because here on the amber side, it's clear, and so your string material will be seen through there, and so it'll distract from the flowers. So it doesn't quite work as well, but it's something different. I'm going to put them in here with my big chunky boys because I have room, and I'm going to put a few of them down here. And then that's going to make it easier to get those bigger guys out later, but I've got those all in there. All right, and now I need to look at what we have left. And I think I'm ready to consider moving into a different container. The question is, which one? let's do the pop top, because I have a few larger beads. I still have room in this big guy, but mostly we'll be able to sort these. And you guys know I love a good bead sort, and I know a lot of our friends do too, because we've got these 2 strands, and then we've got this bead mix, and then these other ones that I've set aside. And I think that that's all going to divide up pretty nicely in here. So let's do that one. It's one of my favorite ways to do it. I like these because they're great for smaller quantities, for one thing. They're easier to get out. They have individual lids, so you can just pop open the one you want to use, dump it out on your mat, use it, scoop it back up right into its container. So let's do that. And we're gonna start by clearing up some of what's on my mat, including these black and gray ones, because they'll fit in here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these coins that we started looking at. And then we're going to do the cubes after it. So we're like going to get a lot of the straight black ones cleared away. This is also where we're going to find if we have some kind of odds and ends shapes. Some of these are slightly irregular, like there's a little edge on that one coin. We've also got some ovals and pinch beads in here that we'll handle separately. But these coins, we can just take them and pop them in this section right here, just like this, and just pop that closed. And we're going to do the same thing with our cubes. Cubes can be really hard to get out of a well, even with like a bead scoop, so having it in a pop top is so easy for just spilling them out when you want to use them. There's a coin that I missed, so I'm just going to reopen that one side and put that back in. And then we have a few other black beads. 2 of them are the fire polish drops that we talked about earlier. I've got an oval and 2 pinch beads. So we're going to take those as kind of a miscellaneous black, put them here. I'm going to go ahead and leave this section as it is, because I know we've got some other black beads over here that might end up in here. And let's do these ones that are kind of that aged hematite style coating. So we've got these round ones. So there's the rounds, or drooks, because they're smooth. And put those in there. And then we've got our drops. Got quite a few of those, and they're going to be fun. There's the drops. And then we've got, I think these are all bicones. I'm just flipping through them just to see if there's any additional shapes in there. But no, these are all bicones. Right here. And they fit perfectly in one of those sections. So we've got our black, and then we've got our gray, and they've each got sections that don't have anything in them yet, so we might add more to it. Get that bicone tucked away in here. There we go. Okay, and then we've got these guys. These were our acrylic smaller beads from that other mix. I didn't want to dig them out of my big container, so I have them here. Most of them are round, range in size from probably about a 3 millimeter up to, I think that's probably close to an 8. And then we also have these little spacer type ones that have, they're a little bit fluted, kind of a fluted shape. And then here's some of the round ones. And again, these are the acrylic ones. So they're going to go in something that you want to keep nice and light, and aren't like super concerned about having it be like high class finish, which is fine. There are things that we make that are like that. So just scooping these up, and I'm just putting them all together as a little mix in this one here. Okay, let's open up. Let's do this, because I think a lot of this is going to go well in here. This is, wait, hold on, what is this mix? These are like glue in pearls, like half pearls. Hold on, hold on. This is different, and I don't know how to use, I haven't used these, but let me spill a few of these out. Are they all? Yeah, these are all glue in type items. So, they're also going to be easier to use, sorted and put in these containers, but I don't want to mix them into the same bar with beads like these guys. We've got these ones that are kind of a domed crystal-y shape, some little square cabs. Oops. So all of these items in here have a flat back, so they can be glued or stitched into something that you like, create a bezel around it. These smaller ones, of course, would be really difficult to bezel. But they, yeah, like I said, they all have a flat back. So we've got these guys. Okay, this is not what I expected that mix to be. This is not what I expected that mix to be. I might need to like up my glue in game, because that's not something that I've played with before. But there's white ones and green ones. How would I sort this? I'm getting the ones that are this size out. There's only a few that are those size. So these guys here. And they're just I think they're acrylic. I'm getting acrylic off of them, but they have a lot of shine and gloss to them, which is fun. That is one of the things I really like about the John Bead box, is that I don't even know if I can sort these, because I'd have to turn them over to see what color they actually are, because what's on the back isn't necessarily what you see on the front. Wow. Okay. Let's do these big ones separately. So we're going to put them here. And since these are acrylic, I am going to go ahead and put them where we have the mixed acrylic beads. And then I think I'm going to scoop the rest of these. Maybe I just sort them by size, and then I pick out colors later, because there are some that are more like a mid-tone or mid-size. Let me get my bead scoop. See how that, they also stick to my fingers. So like a 4mm or smaller. These ones look like they're probably, well, those might be 4mm. Just getting them sorted a little bit by size. And then if I use them, then I can get out the colors that I want. This is definitely something different. Whoops, wrong pile. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit intimidated by the, oh no, what do I do with this? But you know, there are lots of fun and creative things that we can do with this, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who have created with these, and I can go and look to them for inspiration and learn technique. I like them. I like how shiny they are. They've got some real pretty shine to them. And yeah, this is the bead sort portion of the unboxing. If y'all haven't been here for this before, this is one of the things that we do. We sort our John Bead. Becky and I like to do bead sorts with all of our unboxings, but there's a lot of bead mixes in this one, so it feels like there's maybe more than typical when we do this one. It is part of why this is a longer unboxing video. And I'm also discovering things because I may not have a lot of experience with certain types of beads, or I may never have seen something before. But I don't want to get these confused with like beads. I want to remember that they've all got that flat back. And I could have just put them all back in that little bag and kept them in there, but that bag doesn't fit very well and stuff in my boxes. So this way I'll have them and I can look in and see them. I can spill some out and kind of play with it. But some of these are so tiny. Like, look at this teeny tiny green one. Do you see how tiny that is? I can get it flattened on my bead scoop. Ta-da! Look how tiny that is. So tiny. Yeah. So I'm going kind of like, so I've got large ones, and I'm going to have a section for like more the medium and then the small. Hopefully they fit in that way. There are a lot of these, so I might need more space than that. In which case, the large ones might roommate with some of the mediums. Because I think if I run out of space, that's where I'm going to run out of space, is not have enough to put all the mediums together. And it's a variety of sizes in each of these piles, as you can see. So, not what I expected. I figured I was pouring out a selection of like pearl style beads. And they're just half. They're half, and they're not beads. They've got flat backs. To glue or bezel. Right, guys? Is there anything else you do besides besides glue or bezel? I'm curious. Have you worked with this type of thing before? What do you like to make with it? Because I want to try new things. Sometimes I feel like my list of I want to try is way bigger than I can actually handle or have the time or bandwidth for, but it doesn't mean I don't want to think about it. So I'm curious if you have recommendations. Because I like the colors. I like this mix of colors. I like the silvers and the golds. I'm not usually big on the mixed metals, but this just feels like a sun-dappled meadow with the various shades of green and golden light, but silver sparklies. I don't know. Sun-dappled meadow is what I'm getting. Yeah, I see these ones taking a bit of space. They're already taking a bit of time, but we knew that. We knew that when we signed up for dumping out these bead mixes. Because I know me as a person, I will sort them. And I am limiting how I'm sorting this, like I said, mostly by size. A full sort would be just impossible. I'd have so many different piles. Nope. Oh, goodness. Yeah. So it's not as like full of, oh, only black things, which honestly, that wouldn't be a very fun box to play with. I could have some fun with it. I like to do those kinds of things. I've done some monochromatic black projects before that are really elegant and lovely. And so that wouldn't have bothered me. That would not have bothered me. I know that wouldn't appeal to everybody, but and not trying to be Gothic. You can take those, you can take the theme, you can take the primary colors of a collection and turn it into what you want. I have noticed that the John Bead Curiosity box does have a theme, and it fits the theme, but it's not strictly the theme, if that makes sense. Even like the Halloween one, it did have a few Halloween specific things, a few Halloween specific colors, but not everything in it was. There were colors you don't normally associate with it, and you can use them any way that you want. Pair them with whatever you want. There is a ton of beads, and that is one of the things that I like about it, especially because I've just passed my first year of having a bead subscription and actually like beading around this time. And so like I'm still in the stash building phase in a lot of ways, where I'm just happy to get beads and figure out things that I can use and learn how to use them. And I'm not super picky, I guess, on, only getting certain grade gemstones or something like that. Because I don't make to sell. I make to design. I make to create. And for me, it's an artistic outlet. And so the material I use doesn't matter as much as like being able to create and share a design. Does that make sense to you? So the fact that these are all acrylic, that doesn't bother me. It might bother some others. So if that is important to you, that is something to know. You will get a mix of glass, acrylic, metal. It's just the nature of this style of box. But it is a great way to add cool, interesting new items, sometimes old items, to your stash. So it can be a really great stash builder that's not tied to a very super specific theme or goal. Okay. First, I'm going to see if I can get these guys to fit. I wonder if I'm going to have to just put them all in a bar on their own. And I might. I was thinking about that to start with. I want to see how they fit because they're flat. So, okay, so that's the medium pretty well full. Not enough to do a whole bar on its own. I do think I can close this one for the medium, dump out these larger ones, put these medium ones in the bottom here. See how I've done? And then put these larger ones on top. Okay, and then we've got the question on if these smaller ones, because they'll fit in and fill in the spaces a little bit better, if they'll fit here on the end. And I think that they will. Okay, that was actually a very good solution. So these three wells have the larger and medium and small glue-in pearls that had a variety of colors, some purple and different shades of green, some white, gold, silver tone, quite a few really fun things there. So that one's full. And we did actually sort that. Let's open this guy next. This is like purple and golden stuff and really fun. Okay, so this does have some larger beads. Like I said, we did have some larger beads that I was considering putting in the other box, and I probably am gonna put some of these. We've got these chunky fire pulse that have kind of a blue and reddish gold, kind of bronzy polish on part of it. No. Y'all hear that? Yeah, it's still bouncing. But I saw where it went, so I got it. But I did, however, spill one of the yellow, these golden faceted tube beads under my desk. And And now I have that too. Okay. That was a disaster averted because they tried to roll around my dish. Just trying to show you those colors on that. Another chunky, it's more of like a faceted round than a fire polish. Just over 12 millimeter. Yeah, it's a 12 millimeter from hole to hole. Now these guys are bigger, and so they're going to end up going in this box. And then there's also these purple kind of purple Baroque shape of glass. Kind of got some organic swirl to it, but it's this really pretty very royal purple color. Where do I want to put them? Because again, they're not going to fit as well in these little wells. We still have space in our big box. Like I said, I might need to move things around and put in some of the other stuff like that twine. But I'm leaning towards having these pearls. Let's move some of these things around because we have these purple. Let's put our purples together. And I'm going to put them next to these decadent reds. That just feels like the right choice. Hold on. So you can see those decadent reds and purples together. Look how well they play together. That's gorgeous. We'll move these other guys off in another section for now. And then we've got these frosted purple fire polish. They're all swirly and stuff. They might look a little bit more blue, so like the Alexandrite color maybe. It's picking up some bluish tones. But they're a cool purple. Those are really pretty. I want to see if they'll fit in one of these. They don't quite fit in one by itself, but I think we've got room, so let's go ahead and do this. And then we've got these columns, these faceted, not quite a column, maybe more of a barrel bead. Lots of sparkle. And we're going to put them in here. And again, they overflow just a little bit. Put them in the next guy over. So we've got those. If we need to add some more beads to either of those, we can. But we've got some of these other strands and materials that I want to get into. So this is probably going to go into my box here. They're a plastic rhinestone banding is what they are. So this doesn't have metal in it, which means I don't have to worry about testing it. I can just put it in here. And there's a yard of it. And that is the size SS12. Whatever that means. And they've got this thread between them. So it's like banding, and you probably would weave around it, maybe. Maybe you would do some beading around it. I don't know. I've never used this before. How would you use this type of thing as well? I don't want it on the board because it will just take up more space that way. Whereas this will just uncoil. There we go. This will just uncoil. Let's get it up against the dish. You can see so they're little plastic cups with the rhinestones and some space around it. I was going to just dump it in there, but I'm going to make it more tidy. There we go. I know it looks dumped in there, but it did actually fit better that time. There we go. So you got those. They're sparkly friends. Okay, let's do these guys. Yes, let's do the black first because I do have some space I'm reserving over here already, and get those guys sorted, and then we will look at deciding whether or not I'm putting this cording in my box. I would just have to move a lot of stuff, and I don't want to. If I do, I'll pause. If I do, I'll pause. But let's get this one open. So this one has a lot of like black and green in this bead mix, some aqua tones, different sizes and shapes of fire polish. I want to, let's see what we've got here. So these are some tri-cut beads and what looks like some little drooks. Yeah, those are some tri-cuts and drooks in black. Let's get them through first. I like to bead sort. I was really glad that I got this. I got this on Saturday. Saturday was a very, very busy day. We had a lot of things going on. I had a live that I was hosting and stuff. And so I'm actually recording this on Sunday afternoon. You'll probably see this either later today or Monday. But I'm glad that I have time to get into it. I always know when I sit down with a John Bead box that I'm going to have a little bit of a visit. I'm going to have a little bit of a visit. And that is just a known factor. I was very surprised the first time at how long that unboxing video was. But it's just, I don't want to just show you what's in it and then put it back in the box because I will forget about it. I won't do as much with it. And also, you know, like I said, we have a lot of friends who like to see this. If you want to see it, just a straight up unboxing, Emma covers that, and she covers that really well. This is just a different version, a variation on that. Our version of how we do a content reveal. We do our little organizing videos. And the more beads there are, the longer it takes to organize. So hopefully you don't mind much of a visit, that you settled in with a project or a snack. And just here for the beads. And hopefully a little bit the company too, but you know, that's just, you know, it's what we do. It's what we do. I know some people might have paused because you can pause your subscription. So when they saw the theme of this box, they might have paused the subscription. I'm curious if seeing the contents of the box, if you were one who paused, if it made you think, oh, maybe I do want this box after all. Just seeing that there is actually quite a bit of color in this, and that it's not dark and dreary, but you can do some really like on theme designs with this as well. I like the rich jewel tones we have with those reds and purples. And some items don't feel as Gothic to me, like this right here with the rhinestones and that color, the teal, that doesn't feel as Gothic to me. The roses make me think of Gothic garden. I do like that pearl button, and I hope I can use it. You know, just an example of that. I'm going to put these ones because I seem to have more of them here at the end. Let's put our drooks here. Oh, a Sophie fur. If you only see the John Bead content on our channel, you won't have known that one of the reasons I didn't make anything with this last box is I didn't make anything for a week. I lost my Sophie, who we have previously heard come click and clack through when I've done unboxings for this. So if you didn't know, that was there, and I just found one of her furs. They're kind of a crinkly fur, and they float everywhere. They're everywhere. So I'm going to take these tri-cut beads and put them in with these kind of one-off black ones. That way we've got all of our black, or what we would call jet, the black glass, beads for some Gothic morning jewelry if we choose to do that. Look at these greens. Okay, I'm not going to individually sort these because I feel like there's not enough of each one to have them each in their own little spot. I probably have the room for it. What I might do is sort by size and shape, because we do have a mix of these 6mm fire polish with some aqua and light green and some olivine with some, looks like AB coating on it. Those are some really nice colors. And then we have some other, are these all fire polish or do we have some bicones here? We have some bicones here, hold on. We have, that's a rondelle. We have some lined rondelles and some fire polish and some lined bicones. That's kind of fun. Get the bicones. And these are also lined bicones, a different color. Okay, we might be dividing these up a little bit more than I first thought. There's a lot of variety to it. We've got some of these kind of aqua color bicones. These are blue, like a blue aqua lined that's lined with green. Last month or the month before, one of the two, we had some yellow beads that had a blue lining that looked like a green stem. That's what that is reminding me of here. And if we're going to do some garden themed stuff with this box, I'm going to want to know that I've got that. So having that a little bit separate is not a bad thing. Not a lot of them, but they could be fun used in that way. And we've got more of these. And see, some of these are semi-opaque, some of them are lined, but we're going to put them together. They're very similarly toned. There we go. All right, so here's our little fire polish mix. Those are pretty. And then these are some faceted rondelles. They're kind of a rosaline color with a green lining. So let me grab, this is a green wire, but you won't be able to see it through it. I'm going to put this on so you can see that color. Okay. And then these are some aqua, some are the aqua lined crystal and kind of a mint color. They're kind of more mint colored, and a mint opal style glass where it's semi-translucent. And then we have these ones. These are the ones I was talking about that are like a aqua color lined with green. And I could see using these and these to help represent flowers. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to get out a container here, and we're going to put these in separate things. Even though there's only a few of them, I want them separate so I'm seeing them, if that makes sense. Get these. So these are all the smaller ones from that mix, and then we'll take these larger ones and set them in the next one. I also have a little bit of room here. Maybe I'll put them here with these silvery ones. Finish up that one. So we've got those that are finished. All right. I have this bead mix and these two strands left to sort. And we've got 4 here, plus I've still got 2 in my large one, which none of these are large beads, but if I need to move some things around, I can. I shouldn't need to though. Oh, they came out of the lid. Here's a few more of those beads that I just put away. So I'm just gonna open the containers that they go in, add them in, and then the black ones, we've got one of the tri-cuts and 2 of the drooks. There we go. Okay, let's do some more sorting. I am gonna do this one. This is has kind of like bronze and copper metallic color beads. They are not metal beads. So we've got some pearls and some bicones. We've also got some kind of one-off colors. Like, I don't see this somewhere else. We might put it in with the other bicone or the other fire polish that we just put away in the other box. A few kind of one-off colors. There's a little bit different. Let's see what we've got here. So this one definitely doesn't fit anywhere in here. We're going to move it to the side. We have these. This is a different shape. So they're kind of like a half bicone or a half fire polish. Get this wire back out because it's got the same kind of faceting that you have on the fire polish for half the bead, and then it is flat on the bottom. And we have that in a few different colors, like this one with the vitriol. See? That one with the vitriol. This kind of I don't know if that is the Maria wash, or I don't remember. But it also has the half fire polish and then flat on the bottom. That is a new shape for me. These ones are larger and they have the copper. Those are definitely different for me. Oh, there's only one of these, but it's pretty. I like that. But it's the same style as these. So we've got all these little half ones. Let me move them off to the side. The ones that have the little, where it's just flattened on one side. I've never seen that before. Have you seen that before, or is this new to you too? Again, vintage beads here. And we have a few of these small fire polish. We might put them in with some of our other friends. Let's set them aside over here with this one that's kind of a one-off. And then we've got these, just making sure that they, yeah. So these are like an irregular large hole like disc, and they're varying heights. You can see the holes themselves are a little bit irregular. There's a few of those. They would be cool in a more like organic looking design. I don't know if you can see the variation in height. Just get a couple on the extreme sides, one that's thicker, one that's thinner. Put them on this strand so you can see them together. You can get that idea of the variation there. Okay. And then we have these kind of bronze colored glass pearls. Kind of a chocolatey brown. It's a warm brown instead of a cool one. Bronzy. Okay. Let's get this guy open. We're going to start with these pearls because they're probably going to take 2 sections, and they do. And then we're going to put these metallic coated O's in here. And then I'm going to put all of these half fire polish, regardless of which size they are, in this last section here. Okay. And we've got our little one-off beads that we're either going to add in where we've already got some loose fire polish, like this one is the same size as these, it's just different colors at the end over here. Or we can put them in with these. This one's going to go in here. He'll go in there. I am going to put these in with this size. I'll just mix in with those. Okay. Just because there weren't that many of them. And then we've got our 2 Preciosa crystal strands. Preciosa bicones. Make sure that these are all empty. They are. I don't have any other packages off to the side. Remember, I do have this, which normally this would have been in my box, but I'm keeping it separate. I might end up putting it in the box just so I don't have it running around. And then I can use this for some other things after we've done the metal testing. So we'll check on that. But I'm going to go ahead and get these snipped open. So this first one is like a gray, but it's kind of a warm gray with a AB coating. And I'm separating it from, it has all these little seed beads. Oh, those are not seed beads. These are little teeny tiny bicones. Guys. Okay, hold on. I have to show you these first. These, I thought when I looked at it on the strand, were seed beads, but they're not. They are tiny little faceted Preciosa bicones as well. They just look like little sparkling diamonds, and they are wonderful. So I'm going to set these off to the side because we're going to have more coming off of the other strand. They're definitely gonna go together. Let's get these kind of a taupey gray with the AB. Check out that sparkle. And we're going to put these here. Okay. And then these ones, so that was, oh, it actually did have a description. Hold on. That was listed as black diamond AB. And I get that. I get that. Black diamond AB. And these ones are Siam AB is the color. This another very nice deep red. And they also have the AB. I'm just going to roll the larger ones away from the smaller ones. I mean, I was going to keep them anyway if they're seed beads, but I am adoring these teeny tiny bicones. They are so pretty. They look like a little pile of diamonds. And here's the Siam. Again, with the grays and the reds, as well as the blacks. I think I could do something really fun with this. The question is whether or not I want to do it in this video or come back to it later. I think I want to come back to it later because I want to test some of these metals, and I don't have the access to that at the moment. In addition to my metal allergy, I have an olfactory disorder. So for something like John Bead, where Becky doesn't also get this collection, I have to sweet talk my husband into testing the metal. And the more metal there is to test, the more reluctant he is, and I don't blame him. But we can take a look at what all we have here. I'm going to go ahead and we'll see. I'm going to try to do it with this closed. Usually I like to have my boxes open because it is time for a last look. We've got our 18 grid organizer here. And then we've got our 28 grid pop top. And I am going to go ahead and get these situated and arranged on my mat, and I'm probably going to have to zoom out so you can see it. And we're going to take one last look at everything that I got in the number 20 John Bead Curiosity box, or John Bead Curiosities? John Bead Curiosities box. So I will be right back. Okay, so here we are. We've got a last look. As you can see, I did go ahead and move some things around in my 18 grid organizer to make room for the twine, the little box that has the other components in it, and all of that here in this section. This is the only section that contains things that I need to have tested. Not everything in this section needs to be tested, but it does have things that need to be tested. And then I consolidated over here. So this is definitely more full. We have our little kit and our beading needles that we also got. And then we have our 28 grid organizer for a lot of the medium to small beads. So this is really good. I have the collection number 20, Victorian Gothic, right here so you can see it. And also I do really like this inspiration card. And I'm probably going to keep this in the smaller of my two boxes. I'll put this one in the large one. I'll put this one in the top of the small one to kind of help identify this theme. I keep them together, but you know, it doesn't hurt. So I am not going to make something in this video. Like I said, there are a lot of metals that I want to play with. And so we're going to need to test those first. But I wanted to have one last look and talk about some of the things I am really excited about using. I am loving these deep reds and purples that we looked at. I did move these black beads they're covering right now. The purple are underneath here. So that's gonna be a lot of fun to play with. I love a lot of these kind of like the cameo style pendants. This button here is super cool. So I'm looking forward to maybe playing around with those. And just, I've started to get some ideas. So hopefully you see something from me using this box, in the next week or two. But I wanted to have one last look with all of you of the Victorian Gothic number 20. Currently open subscriptions. Currently this box is available. I'm not sure if when this video actually finishes processing and uploading and posting, if that's going to be the same, but the link in the description is going to take you to one page where you can see all of that information. If there are no subscriptions available, it will say sold out. If this collection is no longer available, it will say sold out. But it lists all of the previous collections, and the very first slot is for the subscription. If you do subscribe, the $49.95 does include worldwide shipping. If you don't subscribe and just want to buy the box, it is also $49.99. But it is not a guaranteed box. You have to, like, if they have it available, you can purchase it. And it is only free shipping if you are in the US or Canada, because it meets the minimum requirement to get that free shipping. So that's the little spiel on that. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you liked this video, hit like. If you want to see more, subscribe. And as always, my friends, happy beading, and don't forget to play. Bye!